And honestly, this will be the thing that damages the Switch 2 the most throughout its entire life cycle. Because anybody that wants to make... What's up, YouTube? It's Jay's Take. And today we're going to be talking about a topic I never thought I'd really discuss. I'm pretty sure it would surprise a lot of y'all, considering how you think I'm a Nintendo glazer. I've had the Switch 2 for 6 months now. I've got this thing on launch day, and it makes me want a Steam Deck. I am having a little bit of buyer's remorse, I can't even lie. But without further ado, let's talk about the first thing. Moving on to performance, and this is one of the bigger ones for me because I'm not too picky. I'll play games at 30 FPS, not the best graphics, as long as the gameplay is there and you know it's a good title with good story, whatever. There is no reason that we should have 10-year-old games like Skyrim and Red Dead Redemption running at 30 FPS. I know they just patched Red Dead Redemption to include 60 FPS, but they also just made a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Skyrim that still runs at 30 FPS. Why? What is the reason for that? The game still probably looks like it came out 10 years ago. Sure, the textures might be a little bit refined and maybe get like a prettier skybox or whatever, but 30 FPS still? Like, are you serious? That's ridiculous. And there's been rumors that Red Dead Redemption 2 could possibly come to the Switch 2. That will most likely also be 30 FPS. Assassin's Creed Shadows in handheld mode is also 30 FPS, and it looks like crap compared to the Steam Deck, which is just, it's mind-boggling. It really makes me worried for what we can expect for the rest of this console's life cycle. Are we just gonna keep on getting 30 FPS ports of games that came out 10 years ago that's already available on other platforms that run at 60 FPS? At that point, what is the point of buying it on the Switch 2 when you could just play it on other platforms with a better experience? I understand that this is handheld, so you know the main selling point of the Switch 1 was that it had market dominance. There was not really many other companies making consoles that you can just take with you and play certain AAA games on it. But now times have changed. There's ROG Allies, Steam Decks, Portals. Sony's going to be releasing their own handheld soon. There is like no reason that Fallout 4 is going to be released sometime early next year for the Switch 2. Another close to 10-year-old game will probably be 30 FPS as well, and that is just so ridiculous. At that point, I already have it on my PlayStation catalog. I could just load it up there and enjoy a much better experience. But that's the thing. That's another thing in itself. It's like I already have the game, but I haven't played it. So it's like, would I play it on the Switch 2? But that's a topic for another video. I actually want to get into that later. Another title, Elden Ring. The early previews of it have sub 30 FPS performance. A game like that cannot be 30 FPS. Will the Dust Bloods be 30 FPS as well? Cyberpunk at least runs a little bit decently. It's like 40 FPS. But games like Dredge at 30 FPS is a little insane. And I'm going to actually get into that right now. Dredge could be 60 FPS. The developers want to make it a more native experience for the Switch 2. But here's where Nintendo messed up. For some odd reason, they decided that they didn't want to give any of their dev kits to majority of developers early. They kind of gatekept it for God knows what reason. You would think that, as Nintendo, as a company trying to make sure this thing is a success, that they would allow as many developers as possible to have access to the new, more powerful hardware on one of the most best-selling consoles of all time, the successor to one of the most best-selling consoles at all time. Like, that'd be a no-brainer, right? But there are still developers 6 months after release that have yet to get their hands on a development kit that want to make ports for Switch 2. Like, is there like a cognitive dissonance or something that I'm missing? Because that just doesn't make sense at all. And honestly, this will be the thing that damages the Switch 2 the most throughout its entire life cycle. Because anybody that wants to make a title for the Switch 2 is going to get a late start. And there's games like Borderlands 4 that I'm pretty sure that have had a Switch 2 announcement, but they still haven't made it. I'm guessing it's because they just didn't have the dev kits in time, and they just didn't have enough time. So we're just going to get games that are, one, a lesser experience, and two, releasing way after on other platforms. I don't know. I feel like timing is everything with this thing. And Sony, on the other hand, is already allowing developers and notifying them, hey, optimize for the PlayStation 5's low power mode, so that when our handheld comes out in 2027, 2 years from now, all the games are already ready for it. There's games like Hades 1 on this that are running at 30 FPS 720p. The same developer released Hades 2, 120 Hz 1080p. Why couldn't they make or update Hades 1 to run at that same fidelity? I don't get it. I just don't understand. Even without getting the developers involved, the PS5 had seamless performance boosts on older titles without any developer involvement. It just ran better out the box just because the hardware was better and they scaled it up. Why didn't Nintendo do something like that too? Like, there's certain titles that, yeah, they might run better, but like, why not every title the way that it did on PlayStation? Except for like Bloodborne. And the reason that this is going to continue to be a problem is because there's barely any AAA titles on the Switch 2. It's starting to get better slowly, but because they gate kept those dev kits, it's going to be bad for a very long time. Whereas on the Steam Deck, it's like you're good. Any game you want to play, you can. It might run really, really shitty, but at least you could buy it and do it. Like, you won't. There's been times that I've hopped on my Switch and just looked on the eShop for anything to play because I just ran out of games on this shit. Like, I'm playing Vampire Survivors and I bought Hades and like, that's it. Like, there's not many worthwhile games worth purchasing that weren't already available on the Switch One. And most of the AAA titles that are coming out, like Elden Ring, I already bought it twice. I bought it once on Steam and once on PlayStation. I'm not gonna buy it again to run on the Switch 2 at under 30 FPS. That's ridiculous. So the first thing being, the controls are absolutely horrible. I knew that getting into it, that they didn't really do much to improve the Joy-Con form factor except make it bigger, which, like, I can't even be mad at because I knew that coming in. Something about the joystick positions being like asymmetrical really sucks with the way that the console is shaped. It makes me feel like I'm playing games like this, and it's so uncomfortable in handheld. Anytime I'm laying in bed or even just sitting down playing, it is not the most optimal experience. There's been games that I've tried to play, like the MGS3 collection, the little HD remaster, that was pretty much unplayable on handheld just because, one, that game is clunky by nature, but two, the controls really just did not help the experience at all. I was actually really excited to play that game. I haven't touched it since I bought it, and that's around when Delta came out. And you're really just gonna have to spend money on top of the $450 plus whatever games you bought for this. You're gonna have to spend more money on a grip case and a controller because the Joy-Con snap, it's better than the first one. It's still not ideal. So yeah, you're gonna have to fork up like $80 for a Pro controller or 8-bit dough, whatever you choose. And you're also gonna have to fork up another $80, in my case, for a grip case like this D brand one right here. So yeah, that kind of brings the console's price up by like another $160 or something around there, which is absolutely ridiculous. That is a problem that you will experience right out the box, and that's something that the Steam Deck just doesn't have because the ergonomics of the controller, while they don't detach, it is more rounded. It's not the most comfortable, but it's definitely a lot comfortable than a Switch, and the joysticks are symmetrical, so you can comfortably grip the device the entire time you're playing it, unlike with the Switch 2. Another thing I was really excited for going into this generation was hopefully being able to experience some of the older Nintendo titles that I haven't through the Nintendo expansion pass. but they are releasing games at the speed of a crawl. I really don't understand what the issue is. I mean, it's their games. They're so strict with it. They make their hardware. How are they not able to port these games over faster? It just blows my mind. And that is something that will kind of get better as the console like gets later into its generation. But out the box, it's just whack. It sucks. There's also zero customization or sense of personality on the device, which is a huge bummer because with the Switch 1, the entire time you only had either a black or white theme that you can apply to your console, and that is the exact same thing here. Like, you can open your console and it's gonna look the exact same as anybody else's. You either get the black theme or the white theme, and that is just super disappointing, especially since Nintendo had killer 3DS themes and DS themes. And that console is probably like 10 years old now, so it's like I don't understand why they don't want us to have any sense of personalization except with the profiles pictures that you can make on Nintendo Online. Those are pretty decent and cool because you could like mix and match backgrounds and characters and borders and stuff. They could easily do something like that, and I'm hoping that they take a page out of Sony's book and pretty much just, you know, allow us to do certain themes that they release over time, and maybe even do custom screenshot themes, because the PS5, when it launched, for at least a few years it didn't have any sort of themes, and then more recently it just started getting themes. Once again, I don't know why it took so long for something so simple, but at least they have it, and I'm hoping Nintendo does the same thing. And the last thing, touching on the experience, is the mouse controls. These were such a cool concept, and I was really excited for these personally. I thought a bunch of PC ports were gonna now be able to be playable easily on this handheld because you have dedicated mouse controls wherever you go. Like, you can literally be out and about and play whatever game you want with the mouse controls because it's always there. They are good in theory, like, you know, the responsiveness and, you know, just it's not the most comfortable thing, but like you could get used to it. The main reason I bought this D-brand case is because I found that the mouse control was so uncomfortable because it's so thin that I just needed something a little bit extra to grip. But it's kind of like a step forward and a step back because now one side of the mouse is too heavy. So moving right, I kind of just like tilt my mouse a little too much because it's so heavy on this side, and that kind of makes it a bit unresponsive. But yeah, it was cool at first, but nobody develops for it at all. Like, I haven't seen many developers, maybe like Stardew Valley and Fortnite. That's the only two off the top of my head that I can think of that have made any sort of effort to include the mouse controls in their titles, which sucks. I think Civ 6 has it too, or 7. Good God. Yeah, I think they have it, but bro, like, if you're buying this console for the mouse controls, it's not worth it, at least not yet. And then lastly, the price, the thing that everybody always talks about. And, you know, honestly, at first, like, I saw this as an investment, you know, being able to, you know, play your games with a seamless experience. And, you know, I thought there was going to be so many AAA titles announced that they couldn't just, you know, put in that one presentation because it'd just be too many and whatnot. Like, I thought over the months we would just get more and more titles, but it became increasingly apparent that we aren't because of Nintendo. I ended up doing a lot of investing in this thing. I've spent close to around $1,000 just on this ecosystem over the last 6 months, whether that be through the controllers, the games, the online support, the what else did I spend money on? The case, the console itself. Like, this is a heavy investment at first just to get a decent experience, you know? Like I talked about earlier, it's $450 for the console, but if you want to have a good experience using it handheld, you got to throw out another $80 for the case. And then You also got to throw out another 50 to like 80 for a controller if you want to play on your TV with a controller that actually feels good in your hand, you know? That stuff just doesn't come in the box. It can seem like a money pit, and honestly, I think I'm done like buying accessories for this. I'm good. Like I don't need anything else, thankfully. So now I could just focus on like purchasing games. That's one thing that this console does have a strength in, is the physical key cards that I can just, if I wanted to, I could buy them used off eBay for a discount. Sometimes G2A has discounts on there as well. So you're not always stuck paying like the Nintendo tax like a lot of people would have you believe. That's pretty much why I've regretted having a Switch 2 over the last 6 months. I still have faith in it. I feel like Nintendo could really turn it around if they just allow more devs to have dev kits. And then maybe within like a year and a half or something, we'll see a lot more titles on this. And then also just give us like some customization and stuff like that. I think this could be like a really good console. But as of right now, it definitely had a slow start. I thought it would start with a bang, but it didn't. Maybe we'll have some directs early next year that show what early 2026 would look like for this console. And that would be interesting. But as of right now, like, look, this is my home screen. Minecraft, Mario Kart, Smash Bros, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Stardew, Red Dead, Air Riders, Fortnite, Hades, Hollow Knight, Vampire. Half of these games, or like 90% of them, are already available on the Switch One. I've already put many, many hours into it. And I just, like, don't see a reason to buy this right now. It's still good hardware, just not the right time. It's probably going to mimic the Switch One's life cycle, where like that thing came out and it sucked for a very long time, but towards the end of its lifetime, it was really good. They got like Animal Crossing and Mario Odyssey and Smash Bros and stuff like that, and like Hollow Knight, and yeah, like you get the picture. Like it became a lot better. We got like miracle ports like No Man's Sky, The Witcher, Batman, stuff like that. So hopefully it won't be that long. I see like every game announcement nowadays is like starting to have the Switch 2 available on it as well, which is a good sign. So hopefully that trend continues. But that's going to be it from me. If you found this video informative in any way, I try to make it sound like I wasn't just complaining. Like I wanted to do actual valid criticisms. So if you found any of that information helpful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. And let me know what you think about the Switch 2 down in the comments. Do you think it's still a good buy? Do you recommend against it as well? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.